What's up, YouTube? I said I wasn't doing another video again, but I thought I would be up and gone from here by now. Still stuck as a prisoner of war on drugs, prisoner of war on Judeo-Christians, prisoner of war basically on me, just a war on me. Someone that loves God, Jehovah, the one true God, not Lucifer, Satan. It's going to be kind of an upbeat story, though. It's about my first overdose. Not my first dose, but my first overdose on LSD, acid, whatever you want to call it. I was 19, going on 20 years old, and my friend, or a friend of a friend, had, like, the real deal LSD 25, pretty much, liquid, in an eyedropper, Visine bottle, whatever. Started off, he was dropping on sweet tarts. I took 2, but they were like double dose, so I was like 4 hits. I planned to go to the drive-in and watch Iron Man in Kansas City, Kansas, at the old drive-in, really old place. And so 4 hits are kicking in, and I'm like, alright, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm getting some good visuals. I'm here with my friends. I got like three different cars full of people that I'm with. Fucking stoned, fucking starting to trip balls, and then the movie's over with, and I'm like, oh, I'm still not feeling it. But I forgot to mention that before. I took those 2 hits that were basically double dose with liquid, some of the strongest liquid I ever had, basically 4 hits. I cleaned out a vial, an empty vial, which, you know, acid dissolves and sticks to whatever kind of contact it is. So that bottle must have had at least 8 to 10 hits in it, at least. So I figured that I'm at basically 12, starting to come up on a peak. I'd say 9 to 12 hits starting to come up on a peak. By the time the movie's over, I had seen a spaceship. My friend saw it with me. It was a double hallucination. It wasn't just me, so I think it might have been, and I had a laser pointer. I pointed it up at the sky, and about 2 minutes later, I see this spaceship about the size of a football field hovering over the drive-in. Had all different color lights on it, like orange, green, blue, and red, and if I remember correctly. And it hovered there for a while, and then it left after I shot the laser pointer and connected a few stars together. I don't know if I contacted the galaxy or what. And Iron Man's over. I'm tripping balls. We're going back to my friend's house, who has more acid. And him and his girlfriend want to do their own thing, so he has a 10 strip left, and I buy the whole 10 strip left, the whole 10 hits of sweet tarts. They're basically double dosed a piece. Buy all 10 of them. And this was when they were on like $5 to $7 a piece. And super strong shit. And so I get back to my apartment, and I'm still peaking, or coming down from I'm coming down from the peak from the first 2, but I started coming up from the left of the cleaning out the vial, and then I pop like 3 more, so that's like at least 12 hits right there. And by the time it's morning, okay, this is about 12 hours into it, I decided to take like 3 or 4 more, and I gave like 2 to my friend for free, and I gave 1 away to some other person I called a friend. And so and I had like 2 or 3 left I didn't take. So that's like, it's like 2 double hits. One was 4 plus like whatever's in the cleaned up vial is 8, at least 8. So that's 10. And then I took another 2 took another at least 3 more before the morning came. So that's like up to close to 16 hits of almost pure liquid. Yeah, and I basically began to have closed-eye visions of what's happening around the world. The atrocities that are happening in Africa, people getting their arms chopped off, people getting their heads chopped off over the most minimal stuff, and started reading my Bible, realized that everything God said was real, Revelation, the end of time. And this is right before Obama became president in 2008. And I was actually going to vote for his fake black ass. He's not even black. I'm blacker than Obama. And I wasn't seeing things the way I do now. And what happened to me is bittersweet, you know. I'm still not fully recovered 11 years later, and I'm tripping for about 2 days straight. coming down. I'm coming down, but I'm tripping. Like 48 hours later, I'm still tripping. Got a fight with my parents. Lost my car, my dog. Went and picked up my dog. Walked 3 miles with my dog, and my friend joined me, who had also taken some acid, but not nearly as much as me. And I walked around warning people about the end of time and feeding my dog $10 sandwich. I bought from Slotsky's like a $10 sandwich just fed to my dog. I didn't care about anything. And I was so confused as to why the world was so cold. As I talked to people and asked for help or a phone call or $1, and they wouldn't do anything, and I just broke down crying because I realized how corrupt and sad the world is. A week later, we go to a music festival. I meet a new girl, and like 3 days before the festival, and I hadn't gotten laid in a while, and we had sex for the first time. I got on our 3rd day. She just turned 18. Almost a virgin. She'd been with like one person, and we went to this music festival in southern Missouri called Swagstock, and the first of those that mega major trip I went on with the close to 16 hits was still in my mind, but I was recovering. But somebody had fed me another hit once I got to the festival. It was on orange paper, and it was badass. It was a bad dose, and the girl who drove down there with me, my new girlfriend, she looked like a reptilian, vampire / ghost / demon. Even in the sunlight, she couldn't look at straight in the face. She had to close one of her eyes to look at me. She said my eyes were changing colors and stuff like that. She was probably tripping too. Anyways, we broke up there at the music festival. The girl who had driven me, I broke up with her because I thought she was a demon. And I ended up standing behind after everybody left the festival. There was like 1,000 people there at least at the music festival in the woods. Everybody on all type of different drugs, mostly hippies, playing like jam bands. And I was determined to stay there and fight this war against these unseen entities of people that I knew were cooking meth out in the woods at this festival or smoking crack. I was really against crack at the time. I've been through my battle with that too, and I stayed there until basically everybody had cleared out, until the owner had to run me off. And I figured out the whole place was controlled by basically a coven of witches, male and female. And by the time they had gotten sick of me, it was a day. I'd stayed the last Sunday through Monday morning, and they had gotten sick of me because everybody was gone except for the owner of the land and a couple of the hippies that I'm guessing a couple members of the satanic or witch coven that lived at a place called Camp Zill. And they had gotten sick of me walking around naked, telling everybody that they're evil and they're on meth and they're cooking meth and God's coming to destroy them and it's the end of the world. And they got sick of me, drove them down this long highway. And I told them where I was from. I gave my parents' phone number. My parents said they're not coming down to pick me up because it was 3.5 hours from Kansas City where I lived at the time. And they weren't coming to pick me up. And they had all my information. And they knew which way was closer to my house. And they drove me 20 miles the opposite direction of what would have been the way to my house. And dropped me off in this little town called Thomasville. Population maybe 100 people. This old man comes and picks me up in this old beater truck. His name is Carl. Old white man. Says, you need some help. Yeah, I said, I called my parents in the city, and they're not helping me. I've been swimming naked in this creek right by this thrift store, right by this little gas mart, without this little, like snack pack grocery store thing. Swimming naked in the river in this little town called Thomasville, and this old man comes and picks me up and takes me back to his house. And his house is way back in the woods. He's obviously a Mason of some sort. I saw a Masonic lodge as soon as I got into town. There was no sheriff in the town. There was no police. Another reason why it was kind of sketchy why they drove me 20 miles out of my opposite way to Kansas City in this town with no sheriff and has a Masonic lodge. And this guy picks me up, takes me to his house, feeds me a sandwich, gets my story, tells him that I took some bad acid, and he basically gives me the run of his house. And I could tell his house he was definitely not a Christian. He was definitely into the occult. He had a room that was built strictly out of just stacked rocks and a hearth, like a place where he would burn things. He had a maze in his backyard that was made out of barbed wire and all kinds of different saw blades and stuff in the different sections. He took me on a 4-wheeler ride through on his property. I had no idea what was going on. He showed me this big pit of leaves. The bitch looked like a little cave. like 20 feet deep, and it looked like there was a cavern. And he told me a story about a witch that used to live on his property that was blind and deaf and used to hunt with a. She has some. I think he said she had a gun or has some kind of weapon, and she would be able to shoot, find a way to eat. But she was deaf and blind, but she was a witch. And he told me that story and drove me by this ditch with a hole in it. And he had probably about 20 acres of land. Took me back inside. I called my parents again. They didn't answer. And this guy's saying, you can stay the night here. And he let me take a shower, which was kind of creepy. He tried to put cream on my... I had sunburn really bad because I didn't care because I was tripping so hard. I got this bad sunburn. And he told me to stay the night. I was like, I'm not staying the night here. You can just drive me to the end of the road. I get in his truck, and that old lady picked me up in. But he has a brand new Ford Focus sitting there. A brand new car, brand new Ford Focus, but he's driving this old. I get in his truck. It's about probably 9, 10 o'clock at night, totally dark in the middle of the woods, just in this cabin. And I get in his truck with my bag. I have my backpack. It's the only thing I lost a bunch of clothes, a bunch of personal items, a bunch of opium, top grade drugs at this festival I left behind. Just gave them away or dropped them. And load up my bag in the truck. And instead of driving me to the end of the road, he drives me back into the forest where I saw that ditch. And as soon as I saw that area, I jumped out of his truck. I couldn't see where I was going, but I jumped out of his truck because I got scared. I thought, pretty sure he was going to kill me. And I ran back to his house, and I opened the door of this brand new Ford Focus, and there was a set of keys right in the console. His wallet was right in the console with his ID and about $100 cash. I stuck the keys in that. Not to mind you, I'm still basically reintroduced to that trauma from the 16 hits I took. But still, that bad acid was running through me. The bad acid that I took at the festival was only 1 or 2 hits, but enough to re-trigger what I was going through before I even came to this festival. I turned this car on. I back out in reverse, going about 30, 40 miles an hour through the woods. I don't know how I didn't hit a tree by the grace of God. I must have had at least one guardian angel, and God was watching over me. And I back out reverse all the way to the end of the road, through his driveway in reverse. I swear I was must have gone 30, 40 in reverse in the woods, and somehow I didn't hit anything. I hit the highway. I took out the $100 cash. I threw his wallet and his ID into the woods. I'm wearing a pair of shorts now. I'm going 110. The best way I know towards Kansas City. Somehow I still had navigation skills, even though I was totally out of my mind, fried. And I drove 110 mile an hour through a busy stoplight. It was on red, and I drove 110 miles through it, and it was busy on all 4 sides. Didn't hit anybody by the grace of God. I would even stop for a piss break. I would piss in the car, and if I needed gas, I would stop and put 20 in it, or get a Red Bull. And they would still give me gas, even though I was barefoot with no shirt on. And so I'm driving my way the best I can back to Kansas City, and then I actually find a highway from 20 miles out of the way that they drove me into this Thomasville. Find my way back in an alternate route to Kansas City, get right outside of Blue Springs area, Two Rivers Hospital in Kansas City, and by that time, I'd find this highway called Highway O, as in Omega, the last highway, and I was tripping so hard, I was like, at the end of this highway, I'm going to find my personal pot of gold, my personal dream. Everybody's going to be cheering for me. They're going to say, you conquered this, here's your party, we're going to party, here's a bunch of girls, or, just like a stadium or something. There's nothing, just a country road and these 3 houses. But there's a portal there. There's 3 houses in a row, like a peace sign formation, and a gate. Like one of those terraces you walk through in a garden, and there's a bag of rocks laying there, and a tree planted around it, and a lake, a pond. I broke the branches off the trees. I opened a bag of little pebble stones, and I poured it out. And I crossed through the gate, and I thought I was going to be carried up into heaven, or abducted by aliens, or somebody was going to sacrifice me, or something along those lines, of just making a universal breakthrough, or there was going to be a revolution in consciousness. And I actually thought my ex-girlfriend was living at the house, one of those 3 houses I pulled up to in